Funding now on Indiegogo, it's Shadowbinders, our second chance offer to get 2 hardcovers of our classic webcomic delivered to your door. Steampunk, fantasy, and romantic comedy from Clownfish Comics. Go to Indiegogo, check out the link in the description below. Now on with the video. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And this is our second video talking about the current state of journalism.
And we're using journalism in quotes.
Journalism in the pop culture space. We talk about often because historically, until the last couple of years, pop culture journalists were fairly respected. They were us. They were fans who got into a scene. They were very knowledgeable about things, and they were coming at it from a fan perspective. That has changed. In more recent years, a lot of them are basically activists, or they're not fans, and they're just using it.
They can't even write articles without putting alt-right in it, or conservatives or something like that. They cannot even write these articles without these terms.
And it's disgusting, to see fans smeared by the very outlets that used to, give a voice to our opinions. I think back to the gaming magazines I used to read as a kid, Electron Gaming Monthly and, GamePro, GameSpot, and there were no politics, I was
just going to say, but back then, it was actually about what it was supposed to be about. It wasn't about who you voted for, because most of the time, people didn't know who everybody else voted for. They didn't care. That was your personal business. It wasn't anybody else's business. It wasn't relevant. Let's just talk about the actual product and put out there what people want, which is information on the actual product, good story, good characterization, good gameplay, or whatever it would be. That's what people cared about. But now you literally cannot read an article about brushing your teeth without somehow them shoving in the words alt-right or conservative in it. And it's hilarious because if you are anything right of far, far left, it's considered, those things now, even if you're not.
Yeah, and it's so blatant. I mean, it's just so blatant. They're attacking fandoms. They have been. This has been going on for 4 or 5 years now because the fans, I believe, started to see through the bullshit. And they're like, wait, you're not actually one of us. You're pretending to be one of us.
Plus, they also take extremists, and there are extremists on both sides. I'm not going to say there aren't, because that'd be a lie. There are extremists on both sides. So they take extreme behavior from 1 or 2 people, and then anybody who doesn't agree with something, they try to spin it that they're all those people. And it's like, that's not fair. That's just bullshit. Just because somebody does something shitty doesn't mean everybody who doesn't like something that did something the same. They just didn't. They just, that's just not the truth. So stop lying. Yeah,
so we're going to talk about where the media is right now. We've had some theories. This is why I think they attack YouTubers so hard, because YouTube has absolutely taken eyeballs away from them.
They call the shit out.
And, people are going to YouTube for honest opinions. They're not listening to the bloggers anymore. And a lot of these sites, look, they were started by fans back in the day, but they got sold off to corporations. They're marketing tools, and because they don't pay a lot, honestly, I think that's what it is. They don't pay a lot, so they attract a lot of activist types who want the platform.
They just want they don't care what they get paid. They just want to use it as a soapbox for their own political opinions.
And get a blue check,
Right, which is absolutely stupid, because I think people are just tired of having politics shoved into everything.
So what's going on is that digital media is dying, but it's not really dying. Certain kinds of digital media is dying. Huffington Post, we're going to talk about the layoffs there. We're going to talk about what's been propping up these media outlets and what's actually going on. I put this up because, for everybody saying, hey, blogs are dead, our hosting bill last month was hellacious.
It was really bad.
It was. And people are hungry for unbiased news. So, we've got multiple sites. We're going to be doing some stuff here in the not too distant future, and we're actually doing pretty okay. But you look at some of these other sites, Fangirls shut down, Legendary, Nerdist, they cut a bunch of people. And of course, Huffington Post, which we're going to talk about, because that was sort of the, I guess, gold pyrite standard of millennial journalism. We're going to talk about that. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 182,000 subs. Hoping for 200,000 soon. We are a very small YouTube channel, but somehow we pull in more views than the YouTube channels of a lot of
and
these
somehow
news
these
outlets.
journalists think that we control the news, which we do not have that kind of power.
They do.
It's so funny.
It's like, oh, it's clownfish all along. They're poisoning the well.
And
it's like
we just reported what happened. I mean, you're the
God.
ones that made it that way.
Yeah, right. So yeah, for those of you who didn't hear, we talked a little bit about it in another video. The Huffington Post got absorbed by Buzzfeed, and Buzzfeed kicked everybody to the curb. Basically, they're like, we can't afford in this space to have another 2 years of losses. We're laying a bunch of people off.
We can't afford to have more losses.
Yeah, pretty much.
I know. It's funny.
But the media layoffs were a record high in 2020, and I think 2021's off to a fantastic start. Sarcasm. But, Huffington Post employees are finding new ways to commiserate on Twitter. We'll go back to that. But, they're saying that the Huffington Post laying people off, that is kind of the death knell for this kind of journalism, because they were the big fish and they were not sustainable, and they got absorbed into BuzzFeed, and BuzzFeed couldn't even afford to keep them going. And BuzzFeed now, to keep itself afloat, has to make movies, has to make hellacious puzzles.
Bad choices. Oh yeah, okay.
Tasty puzzles from hell.
Puzzle. Oh my God. You could take that cherry pie puzzle and shove it where the sun don't shine. That was I labeled the bag the devil's pie.
Devil's pie. But I got this article sent to me. It is very, very short, so we're going to read this. This is coming from Talking Points memo. They're basically saying what we've been saying, which is the venture capital is running out. A lot of these sites were never sustainable. This is why they seemingly popped up overnight. And they came in really loud, and they felt like they could say whatever the hell they wanted to say with impunity, and then they disappeared just as quickly. And you saw a lot of these, reporters and editors working for these sites. They had deep pockets. They had these fancy offices, and it's like, where's this money coming from?
It's almost like when you make shit up, it's eventually to come back on you. I mean, it's just who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, and the blogs, a lot of these blogs are dying. So this article said, according to press reports, HuffPost, which was recently acquired by Buzzfeed, is laying off 47 employees. We're going to talk about their commiseration. HuffPost editorial staff union says that 33 of its members were included in the 47 number. The union thing is a big one because everybody was going on about unionizing at these blogs. And it's like union employees cost a hell of a lot more than non-union employees. And when you're hurting for money, who's going to get cut?
I thought these places were far leftist websites. And wouldn't they be for unions?
I'm
just saying. But then here they said about 33 members were editorial. Of course they were. Because most of the writers on there aren't like staff. They're just like, freelance writers for these sites.
Yep. Since lots of these people are people I know from within my professional community, the news hit hard. Yet another in the seemingly endless stream of layoffs at news organizations. Just in this case, I know a lot of these people. And again, this is nothing new. This has been going on for the last couple of years now, since like 2017, 2018. And that is important because that's when the venture capital starts running out. If a site started in 2013, it's running out of money by 2018.
Yeah, they usually last about 5 years.
Right. So he mentions this. And this is not a right-wing blog or anything like that. He said he knows these people and he's upset. The brass at Buzzfeed seem to handle the layoffs in a particularly clumsy way, but we shouldn't miss the real story here. This is the real story. Many of these news operations simply are not financially viable.
No shit. It's like we've been saying this for years.
Oh my God, it was Clownfish all along. We've been calling it. They don't bring in enough money to sustain their expenses. Indeed, many of them, way more than you've been led to believe, were never financially viable.
No, we kind of knew that. We weren't led to believe any of this shit. We kind of knew.
The employees thought that they were financially viable, but no, they weren't viable.
It's the emperor's not wearing clothes. That's all these sites. The emperor's not wearing clothes. Remember how I should tell you, look at my wonderful frock. I'm just like, you ain't wearing nothing.
They were floated on an ongoing infusion of new investment money, chasing big payoffs that were probably always illusory. Then they hit the brick wall of the rapid consolidation and automation-driven price declines in the ad industry. Again, ad revenue was down considerably last year because of the pandemic. Nobody knew what to expect. I know on our end on YouTube, about a month into the pandemic, the ad rates started dropping off when they usually start picking up in the spring because nobody knew what was going to happen. So they stopped spending money. They panicked and they stopped spending money.
And since we keep it lean and mean, we were fine. But, you know, here's the thing. I also wonder, too, these people were all behind the apocalypse and trying to get people canceled with the PewDiePie stuff. And they were all, like, so hungry to cause issues. But I think that comes back to bite them in the ass, too.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that because, you know, we kind of touched on this in the previous video talking about Gamergate. Yeah, they started to see that YouTubers were making more money than some of these blogs were making. I mean, individuals were making more money, I think, than entire editorial departments.
Companies.
Right? And they started to look at that. So they were like, oh, look, PewDiePie is an alt-right Yahtzee. Let's, you know, hit him in the wallet.
And then the ad money will come to us.
But it didn't.
But all it did was, they still want to advertise on YouTube because there are more eyeballs on YouTube. No one's reading his blogs anyway. Except for people on YouTube like us complaining about them. So the advertisers got a lower ad rate, which I think it was the issue the whole time. I think that they were trying to angle for cheaper ads. Oh, I'm offended, even though I'm not. So you give me the same ads cheaper. And then which just drove the ad industry down, but the money was still going to YouTube. So now the ads were worth less for everyone.
Yeah.
But the lion's share was still going to YouTube. So they actually, by them trying to go and cut the throats of other people, hurt themselves.
Yeah, boomerang it hit them in the head.
Yeah, that's what, pretty much.
Like PewDiePie ducked and the boomerang hit you in the head.
I got a boomerang story.
Okay, go for it.
Unrelated. My brother had a boomerang and he threw it and it hit me in the arm and I limped to the house.
I'm sorry.
My parents were very entertained by that because I didn't get anywhere. I didn't get injured in my legs. I got injured in my arm, but I limped to the house. I was a kid, but they were very entertained.
Did you get one of those collars too around your neck? You know, they always have when they always show that people get injured in a court and they always have the neck brace.
No, but I had another story. It's funny. And my sister will probably hear this because she'd be listening to these videos. So we were on the bus and the bus driver was a new driver and kept not taking us to where our bus stop was. It kept going further back to make us walk further and she didn't want to. So she limped to the front of the bus. Now, we've been on the bus with this driver a few times, so they know this wasn't true. And told him, she's like, I have polio. You need to pull up closer to the bus stop. Turns out the bus driver was friends with my parents. And I think they were all rather amused.
Got the black lung pop.
She knows it's true. Anyway,
So this is very telling. Again, this is, look, speaking of lies, coming from a guy who's friends with people at Huffington Post. He said whole territories in the firmament of digital news media were simply based on lies.
Yeah.
Not lies that had anything to do with journalism or the journalists. There was simply no business model there to make the whole thing work.
Well, it didn't help either that the quote unquote journalists in journalism were actually activists trying to leverage every potential platform for them to get their activism out there.
Oh, yeah.
And it became more about how to control narratives and how to vilify people or to spew, whatever, or try to bully people into conforming to their beliefs than it did about actually reporting on the news.
Yeah, so they're commiserating on Twitter now.
Oh, surprise. Of course. Where else would they go? Is anybody shocked where they're going to go yell about it is Twitter?
Yeah.
Blue check isn't worth much now, is it?
No, it's not. So they're complaining on Twitter. Look, this has been going on for about 2 years now. And again, venture capital, usually you get like a 5-year infusion and then you do like another round after 5 years. And there are entire websites that are built on venture capital and the venture capital is running out. Mm-hmm. Basically, they're giving you 5 years to find your feet because it usually takes about 5 years for a business to find its feet. That's, you talk to any small business.
Tell that to our ex-partner.
Yeah, tell that to the ex-partner who after 2 years was like, oh, this isn't happening fast enough. I'm like, I gave you a 5-year plan. You didn't listen.
Yes.
You didn't listen. Guess what? 5 years. We're doing great.
No, it's 5 years. Yeah, it's about 5 years later. And our site's doing well and her site's worth shit because she stole it and ran it to the ground.
Yeah, ran it into the ground. So we were right on schedule. Just you're not involved because you chose to nope out. Oh well. Yep. Oh well. Anyway, yeah. So this is the truth coming out that they're really, and it was the same with Kickstarter too.
Yeah, Kickstarter's one too.
They had the union there and all that, and but what they do, they use the layoffs to get rid of the union employees, and that's what they're doing with the journalists.
I don't know, but they did kind of Kickstarter, which is hilarious to me because if you guys are far leftists, that you're about unions. You keep claiming that's what you're about. And then these sites fold or get rid of people associated with unions, which is actually so ironic. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
yeah, but you have to make money. At the end of the day,
they're all company. They're all business.
Yeah, they're still business. And at the end of the day, no money, no jobs. It's not a charity. Venture capital, they're demanding, because we looked into venture capital before for ourselves.
Which we never took any.
No, we never did, because the rules are ridiculous. What they expect in return is ridiculous. And they're signing a deal. A lot of these companies, these websites are signing a deal with the devil, and then the devil comes to collect.
And they make puzzles that are the devil's pie.
The devil's pie. And when they come to collect, if it's not working out, they're going to be like, then we're pulling the plug on this whole thing, or we're selling you off. Look what happened to Gizmodo.
And so we can get our profits and our money back.
Yeah, we want our money back.
So
we gave you 5 years to get your shit together. And what'd you do? You basically spent 5 years attacking video gamers and, spouting off about politics.
Now they're trying to make Gamergate 2.0 again. Why? Because they need those hits and those views, and they need that controversy, even if they create it, so they can blame it on somebody else, so they can, justify having a job.
Yeah, and I don't know what to tell you. It's not sustainable. This guy is telling you it was all a lie. It was not sustainable. You were getting paid out of venture capital. They're probably spending millions of dollars a month to get, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars back in ad revenue, and that's not sustainable.
They ruined that too.
Yeah, they ruined that too by trying to take out YouTubers.
It was lies and bullshit all along.
So there you go, guys. Not our fault, but we're doing fine. We're fine. So lean and mean, no venture capital. We're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.